The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This week on FRCmedia News, to save money, the city is looking to become better at collecting recycling. Fall River is planning for new modes of transportation heading into the local tourism season. And the library takes the wraps off its new bookmobile. We have a first look. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, February 22nd, 2024. This is FRCmedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. City Police and the Bristol County District Attorney's Office are investigating Fall River's first homicide of 2024. 2 weeks ago, 34-year-old Joshua Medeiros was shot near Nashua and Blackstone Streets. He passed away last Friday. State police are assisting in the investigation. No word yet on if they have any leads in that case. The cost of trash pickup and disposal for the city of Fall River has risen in recent years, and the Department of Community Maintenance, or DCM, is embarking on a campaign to boost residents' participation in the proper disposal of recycling material. DCM Director Charles Denmead says since the end of the Pay-As-You-Throw Purple Bag program, the city has not been able to maximize efficiency in recycling.
The cost to get rid of our recycling and to dispose of our recycling has risen because of the contamination levels, and that has gone up. There are commodities that are involved in the recycle stream. If we can divert them, if we can remove some of them from the stream, then there are commodities in there, our corrugated, our metals. We're not equipped to do that here. That's what happens at the end source. When we ship our recycling, our commingle from here to the recyclery, that's what they do. They withdraw the metals, the resins, and they corrugate it from it there, and they withdraw the commodities. It's the sorting. We pay to ship it. We pay for them to sort it. That's something we're looking most likely to do in the near future.
Mr. Denmead says the city does its best to ensure that most of the recycling material leaving Fall River is acceptable to vendors.
We have established here over the last 3 or 4 years is what they call a dirty MRF, is where all our recycling is collected curbside here in the city by our contractor. Then it's brought here to our facility and it's dropped. And what we do is with our machine is we take out some of the contamination. We take out all kinds of items that you wouldn't believe. Baby car seats, pools, children's swimming pools, mattresses, full-size mattresses. Some people are saying, how do you fit a full-size mattress into a cot? It's been done. You name it. Pillows, armchair cushions, bags. People put full bags. Some people with good intentions, they'll put all their commingled recyclables clean. They'll bring it downstairs in a bag, and then they'll put the whole bag right into the recycle cart. And just bring it downstairs, open it up, and dump it in the cart. Take your bag with you. The whole thing gets up, so we take it out.
Recycling coordinator Joe Kennedy says there are a limited number of items the city can accept to be recycled.
Cardboard, paper, basically anything that's in your refrigerator or in your kitchen is in a container that can be recycled. Other than that, I always suggest if you're in doubt, throw it out. It does need to be a clean piece, but also we find people just throw away a jug filled with liquid, not draining it, which when it gets to the recycling, it contaminates because it gets everything else wet if it breaks open or spills. So not only do you have to have a clean container, but you also have to have an empty container.
Mr. Kennedy says even though mistakes are made, city residents have good intentions when they dispose of recyclables.
One of the big things that I'm running into is plastic bags, and I can't talk enough about plastic bags. They serve as a tangler in at the recycling centers. They get tangled up in the conveyor systems and such, but people are just not knowing plastic is actually in the word plastic bags, so they're assuming plastic bags are recyclable, which they are not. Another big problem is the shredded paper that cannot be recycled. We just suggest that goes in the trash. Years ago, shredded paper was recyclable, but because of mass rules, which change very frequently, shredded paper is no longer recyclable.
Mr. Denmead says residents often deduce that all plastic containers and metals can be recycled when in fact they cannot, and the state is constantly changing the rules on what is allowed.
If you have a question, we refer everyone to recyclesmartma.org. It's Google for recycling. Right. If you have a question, put it in there and it'll check you. I have to check it once in a while. And that's the thing. And that's why re-education and education is essential, because there are things that change. DEP changed the standard. It's what's marketable. What is a commodity today may not be a commodity tomorrow. What's acceptable today may not be acceptable tomorrow. I phrase off, one of my biggest things, pizza boxes were the biggest enemy of a recycle cart at one time. Now, they want the pizza boxes. They want them empty with a little cheese maybe stuck on it, a little oil or grease, but they want those pizza boxes because of the corrugated.
The city is looking to extend its cardboard recycling pilot program this year to separate cardboard from the rest of the recycled items, generating much needed revenue. In terms of combining recycling education with enforcement, the city is looking at ways to hold homeowners more accountable.
In 2016, when I took over this unit, the enforcement and recycle unit, we had to address solely the tenant, but they changed the ordinance. It goes to enforcement efforts go to the property owner, and we want to do it through education. We want to change over, and we want to make this turnaround through education, re-education, and help people recycle better. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the person that's responsible for that house and who's putting out in those carts to make sure that they're clean and that recycle's clean, they're put out right, the cart lids are closed. You don't put out your carts and leave them out there until next week. Someone's got to be responsible for that, and ultimately it's the property owner.
Plastic containers containing chemicals, regardless of how clean they are not recyclable. Also not accepting in bins is clothing. The city recommends dropping off clothing and other textiles in bins designated at the city yard. The city receives revenue from the organization that collects used clothing. The city of Fall River has a new vehicle in its fleet, one that could boost tourism and generate revenue. Mayor Paul Coogan tells us the city secured a grant to purchase a used trolley for use by the city and residents.
All wood interior. It really has a nice look to it. We're going to put obviously our new logos on it, and we got a couple of routes assigned. I think we have the potential to rent it out to weddings and people that want to do specific tours of the city. We've talked about a church tour. We've talked about a Lizzie Borden tour with some lunches, and again, I think it'll be a nice addition to the city. It'll take some of our parking off the waterfront.
The mayor says the city is once again planning for a full calendar of events for residents and tourists this summer. With most of that activity slated for the waterfront, the city is forging ahead with a pilot project to launch a small water taxi service that will travel from Commonwealth Landing to the Borden Light Marina.
I think it's going to have 4, maybe 5 stops from what would be the Tipsy Seagull, which will give you access to walk to, Canned Heat Brewery or over to Columbia Street, or you can go all the way up to the wall and visit the monuments there, grab something to eat at Barrett's, and in an afternoon, take a ride along the waterfront. When you buy your ticket, you get one loop of the 4 stops. So if you get off somewhere in the middle, when the boat comes back around, you can get back on. It'll take you back the way you started. So, we're going to try it. I mean, it's something we'd like to do. We have the opportunity to expand it if it takes off. So, it's win-win. Between the trolley, if we can coordinate the trolley with the water taxi, with some of the events, we're already working feverishly on lining some things up for the summer on the piers, and hope people get down there this summer.
The mayor says the water taxi will have limited seating, and any revenue raised from the rides will likely offset the cost to the city for the service. State Representative Paul Schmid, whose district includes a small sliver of the southeast section of the city, has announced that he will not seek re-election and retire at the end of the year after 14 years on Beacon Hill. Representative Schmid, who owns a farm in Westport, says although he enjoys the work, he is ready for the next chapter of his life.
Well, I know I am not going to step away from public service. I look forward to, I mean, that's what we all want to do. We all want to be of some use, and I look forward to being of some use to Westport or the South Coast in some way. I don't know what way. But I look forward to continuing to serve, but perhaps in a slightly less intense way. You're a state rep, state senator, mayor, Paul Coogan. We got a wonderful one in Fall River. You're on duty 24/7, and I would like to spend more time on the farm. I owe my wonderful wife, Tina, without whom I never would have done this. I owe her a little bit more time, and I got 5 wonderful grandchildren, 2 granddaughters in San Francisco, and 3 great little grandsons here in Boston. I'd like to spend more time with them.
Representative Schmid says what he'll miss the most are the friendships he has made, particularly with those in the Fall River delegation, Senator Michael Rodrigues and Representatives Carol Fiola and Alan Sylvia. He also credits his staff through the years for working behind the scenes with constituents and organizing legislation, many of which have been to the benefit of Fall River and the South Coast.
We have worked very hard, along with our colleagues in New Bedford, to bring South Coast Rail. That's going to make a generational difference. I think I'm told that we're already starting to see the effects of that. Much more interest in the quality of life down here. So I'm proud of being part of that group. I'm proud of the Student Opportunity Act. That's going to help cities like Fall River, New Bedford, Springfield, Haverhill. We made a commitment with state funds to increase the per student spending in Fall River from $13,000 to $20,000 over a period of 5 or 6 years. And for Fall River, that has meant an additional $10 million in Chapter 70 money each year.
In his final year of office, Representative Schmid is looking to leverage his chairmanship on the Joint Committee on Agriculture to bolster the state's reliance on locally grown food. The Massachusetts presidential primary is less than 2 weeks away, and the city of Fall River is gearing up for the March 5th election. Early in-person voting for the primary begins this Saturday.
There's going to be in-person early voting held in the atrium here at Government Center. There's going to be 1 week for the March presidential primary starting on February 24th, and it's going to run consistently all the way through Friday, March 1st. I've set the hours for the weekends to run from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and the weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And there will be parking spaces reserved for voters outside of the Sullivan Drive entrance. So for anyone who is interested in voting in person early, you're more than welcome to do so. Just please enter the building through the Sullivan Drive entrance, and we're more than happy to help you.
Mr. Lyons says the interest to vote early in person has waned since its inception 8 years ago.
First inception in November 2016, where we had about 1,200 people voting early in person, but since the introduction of voting by mail, it's waned significantly. In November 2022, for example, we only had about 500 people who had voted early in person. So between the two, I want to say voting by mail is the more popular of the option, but it's still one of the options available for voters. So, whether you want to vote early in person, you want to apply for a mail-in ballot, or you want to vote in person on Election Day, regardless of your method, please remember to cast a ballot this year. There is no excuse.
This Saturday is also the deadline for those who have yet to register prior to the presidential primary to do so. The elections office will be open Saturday until 5 p.m. We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here's some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Purchasing Manager, Rexel Energy Solutions, located at 1082 Davall Street, seeks a full-time purchasing manager, responsible for the purchasing and procurement activities for the wire commodity specialty business within Rexel USA. Job number 204-40018. Bank Teller, Santander, located at 430 William S. Canning Boulevard, is looking for a part-time bank teller, responsible for assisting customers with service or account issues, opening or closing accounts, and processing transactions. Job number 204-40042. Legal Assistant, Family Service Association, located at 101 Rock Street, is seeking a part-time legal assistant, responsible for helping lawyers and other legal professionals prepare for trials or court cases. Job number 204-42230. Receptionist, H&R Block, located at 4171 North Main Street, is looking for a full-time receptionist. For more information, call 508-675-0700. South Coast Health Systems, located at 363 Highland Avenue, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Public Safety Officer, job number 204-42032. Patient Intake Representative, job number 204-41247. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. The City of Fall River next week will cut the ribbon on the library's new bookmobile.
In the 60s and the 70s, the Fall River Public Library did have a bookmobile that traveled around, went to schools, went to the parks and whatnot. And then around the late 70s, early 80s, I believe, was when they ended up decommissioning the bookmobile. But at the time, we had the main branch right here in downtown. We also had the East End branch and the South End branch. So it was felt that we were servicing the community with the brick and mortar branches, but with the closure of those two in the past couple of years, they kind of looked back to the past and said, hey, we had a mobile branch at one point that worked out really well. A lot of people have some really fond memories of the bookmobile visiting their schools, so they wanted to bring that back in this case where we no longer have the two branches for those parts of the city.
When it came to the design of the mural on the outside of the bookmobile, the focus of the artwork became obvious.
We wanted it to be really front and center Fall River for our bookmobile, and as a lot of people already know here in the city, our children's librarian David Mello is a fantastic artist. He did all the murals inside as well and has a lot of art displayed in the building, so he wanted to take a crack at it and he drew this initial design up for us. And his little theme for it was the children's department turtle Sheldon that a lot of the kids know and love, and just have him going through the sights of Fall River, coming to the library. And when he drew it, I really loved the design. Leanne really loved it. We thought it really encapsulated Fall River and the library for the city.
Ms. Parker says as traffic to the library has been reduced in recent years, the launch of the bookmobile will allow the library to meet people where they live.
That's really the big thing for us, is trying to reconnect with the communities who, with the closure of the branches, are unable to visit the library, and also individuals and groups who just have a harder time getting here on their own, which is why for the initial run, we're really focusing on the school system and senior housing, senior centers for people who either need to have somebody bring them to the library or just have mobility issues with being able to get here. And the great thing is that I know a lot of people, when they think of libraries, they think of just checking out books, but as is the case with the branch, there's so many other services that we can offer to the public. We have a fantastic collection of books, but we'll also have things like DVDs, books on CDs, games, stuff and programming set up as well, so you're getting as much of the library experience just having it brought to you instead of having to make your way downtown for it.
As the weather warms this spring and summer, expect the bookmobile to become more visible.
I've been working with the city on trying to schedule us for all of the programs that they do during the summertime. So things like the block party. I was at the We Heart Fall River Festival last year down over at Government Center, having it parked for that. When Durfee does their movie nights, having the bookmobile go for nighttime programs, and also just in the parks, parking, setting up some lawn games, having the door open so people can come check out books, get library cards, and interact with it as much as possible.
The official bookmobile ribbon cutting will take place next Wednesday, February 28th at 10 a.m. For information on scheduling the bookmobile, you can call 774-309-1274. We'll wrap up this edition of FRC Media News right after this.
Welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Totoro. Totoro is a 4-year-old domestic short-haired male. He is neutered. He's very mellow. He likes pets. He loves toys. He would do good in any home. He was an owner surrender, again through no fault of his own. He has been a little stressed here. He's starting to wind down a little bit, but he would really do good in any home. Other cats, dogs he should be okay with as long as they're not right in his face. But see, he's a very lovable guy. He just loves the pets. If you'd like to come down to meet little Mr. Totoro, come on down to 300 Leavenworth Street, Fall River, Mass. Our phone number is 508-677-9154, and you can come down and meet him.
Today we have Cottage. Cottage here is, as you can tell, she's a little overweight here, but she is a mixed breed dog that actually originally came to us from Puerto Rico. Believe it or not, there's a rescue group that we work with down there that she came through. She has a very good disposition, very friendly. You can probably tell she's bouncing around, she's rubbing in. She loves the pets, loves the attention. You can still get her to play quite a lot. Still a young girl, still plenty active. Loves to chase tennis balls and squeak those plushies. It would be better if she was in either an average energy level home or one where people are kind of active. That would certainly help her to lose this weight and to keep it off. If you think that your home would be great for a Cottage and you'd like to adopt her, you can come down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts to Forever Paws Animal Shelter.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website, frmedia.org, for all the latest news and local information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.